My nephews knocked on my door at 4 a.m., shivering in their pajamas. Their parents had locked them out. Again, this time I didn't just let them in. I made one phone call, and their parents' lives changed forever. The knocking started at 4:03 a.m. Not loud, not frantic, just persistent. Tap, 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 pause. Tap, tap, tap. I thought I was dreaming at first, but then I heard it again, and my eyes snapped open. Someone was at my door at 4 in the morning. I grabbed my phone, no missed calls, no texts, and stumbled out of bed, threw on sweatpants, checked the peephole. Two small figures stood on my porch. My heart stopped. Jake and Tommy, my nephews, 8 and 6 years old, in their pajamas. I yanked the door open. "Uncle Mark!" Jake's voice was shaking. His lips were blue. Mom and Dad locked us out again. Again. That one word hit me like a fist. "Get inside. Now." They shuffled in, both shivering so hard their teeth were chattering. Tommy's Spider-Man pajamas were soaked with dew. Jake's bare feet left wet prints on my hardwood floor. I grabbed blankets from the couch, wrapped them both, cranked the heat up to 78. "How long were you outside?" My voice came out steadier than I felt. "Maybe an hour?" Jake said. "We tried knocking. They wouldn't answer." Tommy just cried, silent tears running down his face. I looked at the clock. 4:03 a.m. Outside temperature, 36 degrees. November in Illinois. These kids had been locked outside for an hour, in freezing temperatures, in thin cotton pajamas. My sister Emma and her husband Brad lived 6 blocks away. 6 blocks these kids had walked, in the dark, alone. "Stay here," I said. "I'm making hot chocolate." I'd known something was wrong for months. Emma was my older sister by 3 years. Growing up, we'd been close. She'd protected me from bullies in middle school, helped me study for the SATs, loaned me money when I was broke in college. Then she married Brad Thompson, 34 years old, regional sales manager for a pharmaceutical company, made good money, drove a Lexus, belonged to a gym he never went to. He was also controlling, volatile, and mean. I'd noticed it at family dinners, the way he talked to Emma, little comments that seemed harmless but landed like cuts. "You're wearing that? Maybe if you cooked like my mother, the kids would actually eat. Can you not embarrass me in front of people?" Emma would laugh them off, make excuses, change the subject, but I saw the way her shoulders tensed, the way her smile never reached her eyes. The boys were different around Brad too, quieter, careful, like they were walking on glass. 3 months ago, they'd shown up at my door for the first time. Same scenario, late night, locked out. Emma and Brad had been fighting, screaming at each other. The boys got scared and hid in the backyard playhouse. When they tried to come back inside, the door was locked. They'd waited 20 minutes, knocked, called out, nobody answered. So they walked to my house, 6 blocks, at 11 p.m. in September. I'd kept them overnight, called Emma the next morning. "Oh my God, Mark, I'm so sorry. We didn't hear them. We were just exhausted and fell asleep." "They were locked out, Emma. It was an accident. They shouldn't have gone outside in the first place." They were scared. You and Brad were screaming. Silence. "We're working through some things," she'd said finally. "Marriage is hard. This isn't about marriage. This is about your kids being safe. They're fine, Mark. Stop being dramatic." 2 weeks later, it happened again. This time, Brad had answered when I called. "They need to learn not to wander off," he'd said, his voice cold, flat. "Maybe next time they'll think twice before leaving the house without permission. They're 6 and 8, Brad. They can't be locked outside as punishment. I'm their father. I'll discipline them however I see fit." "This isn't discipline. It's neglect." He'd hung up on me. I'd let it go. Told myself Emma would handle it, that she'd protect her kids. But now, sitting in my living room at 4:03 a.m., watching Jake and Tommy shake under blankets, I realized she wouldn't, and I was done waiting. The boys fell asleep on my couch around 5:30 a.m. I took photos first. Their wet pajamas, their red, cold hands, Jake's bare feet with dirt and grass stuck to them. Opened the metadata, confirmed the timestamp, 4:17 a.m., saved everything to a folder labeled evidence. Then I went to my bedroom and made the call I should have made months ago. Child Protective Services, the emergency hotline. A woman answered on the 3rd ring. Professional, calm. "Illinois DCFS, this is Monica speaking. How can I help you?" "My name is Mark Sullivan. I need to report child endangerment." "Can you describe the situation?" "My nephews, Jake, 8 years old, and Tommy, 6, were locked out of their home tonight. They showed up at my door at 4 a.m. in pajamas, no shoes. It's 36 degrees outside. They said they'd been out there for about an hour. Are the children safe now?" "They're with me, but this is the 3rd time in 3 months this has happened." Silence, then typing. "The 3rd time?" "Yes. Their parents, my sister Emma Patterson and her husband Brad, have locked them out before. September 23rd, October 8th, and tonight, November 17th. More typing. "Do you have documentation? Photos, timestamps? I can send them." "Please do. I'm opening a case file now. We'll need to send a caseworker out to evaluate the children and speak with the parents." "When?" "First thing this morning. Can you keep the children until we arrive?" "Absolutely. Mr. Sullivan, you did the right thing calling us." I wasn't sure about that yet, but I knew I couldn't not call. At 6 a.m., my phone started buzzing. Emma. I didn't answer. She called again and again. At 6:47 a.m., she left a voicemail. "Mark, where are my kids? Brad woke up and they're gone. Call me back. Now." I deleted it. At 7:15 a.m., someone pounded on my door. Brad. I looked through the peephole. He was red-faced, angry, still in his pajamas. I opened the door, didn't let him in. "Where are my kids?" he demanded. "Inside, sleeping. Get them. We're going home." "No." His face darkened. Excuse me? They're not going home. Not yet. You can't keep my kids from me. You locked them outside in freezing weather. They walked 6 blocks to get here. That's the 3rd time this has happened. That's none of your business. You made it my business when they knocked on my door at 4 a.m. We fell asleep. It was an accident. 3 times isn't an accident, Brad. It's a pattern. You self-righteous. He stepped forward, aggressive. Give me my kids. Now. No, I'll call the cops. Go ahead. I already called CPS. The color drained from his face. You did what? I called Child Protective Services. They're sending someone out this morning. Jake and Tommy stay with me until they arrive. You son of a bitch! Get off my porch before I call the police myself. He stared at me, jaw working, fists clenched. Then he turned and walked away. I watched until he was gone. My hands were shaking. The caseworkers arrived at 8:43 a.m. 2 of them, Monica Rivera, mid-40s, calm, professional, and her supervisor, James Park, a quiet man in his 50s who took notes constantly. Mr. Sullivan? Monica extended her hand. We spoke on the phone. Thanks for coming. Can we see the children? Jake and Tommy were awake, eating cereal at my kitchen table. They looked small, scared. Hi, boys, Monica said gently. I'm Monica. This is James. We're here to help. Is it okay if we talk to you for a few minutes? Jake looked at me. I nodded. It's okay. Tell them the truth. Monica interviewed them separately. Jake first, then Tommy. I sat in the living room with James while they talked. How long have you been concerned about the children? He asked. 3 months, since the first time they showed up here. And you didn't report it then? I thought it was a one-time thing. My sister apologized, said it wouldn't happen again, but it did. Twice more. Do you have documentation? I pulled out my phone, showed him the photos, the timestamps. September 23rd, 11:47 p.m. October 8th, 9:23 p.m. November 17th, 4:17 a.m. James took photos of my photos, wrote everything down. Have you noticed any other concerning behaviors? Brad is controlling, verbally abusive toward my sister. The kids are afraid of him. Have you witnessed physical abuse? No, but the emotional stuff is clear. He yells, demeans Emma in front of the kids, punishes them for things that aren't their fault, like being locked out. He told me they need to learn not to wander off, like this was their fault. James wrote that down too. Monica came out 20 minutes later. Jake and Tommy confirm your account, she said. They've been locked out multiple times. They're afraid to go home. My chest tightened. What happens now? We open a formal investigation, interview the parents, inspect the home, determine if the children are safe, and if they're not, we'll file for emergency custody, place them with a relative, likely you, until the case is resolved. How long does that take? Depends on the findings. Could be weeks, could be months. Emma showed up at 9:30 a.m. She looked terrible. No makeup, hair in a messy bun, eyes swollen from crying. Mark, please, I need to see my kids. Monica stepped forward. Mrs. Patterson, I'm Monica Rivera with DCFS. We need to speak with you and your husband. Emma's face crumpled. This is insane. Mark, you called CPS? On me? On the situation, I said. The boys were locked out 3 times, in freezing weather. We didn't mean to. Intent doesn't matter. They could have gotten hypothermia, been hurt, been abducted. Do you understand how serious this is? They're fine. They're traumatized. Jake told Monica he's scared to go home. Does that sound fine to you? She started crying. Real tears this time. I'm their mother. Then act like it. Brad pulled up 10 minutes later, saw the DCFS van in my driveway. He stormed over. You have no right. Mr. Patterson, James stepped in. I'm James Park, DCFS supervisor. We need to speak with you and your wife. Now. About what? About why your children were locked outside in 36-degree weather at 4 a.m. That was an accident. For the 3rd time? Monica said. That's a pattern, Mr. Patterson. Not an accident. You can't take our kids. We can and we will if we determine they're unsafe. Brad looked at me, pure hatred in his eyes. This is your fault. No, I said. This is yours. They interviewed Emma and Brad for over an hour. I couldn't hear everything, but I heard enough. Brad's voice, loud and defensive. They're my kids. I'll discipline them however I want. Monica's response, calm and firm. Locking children outside in freezing temperatures isn't discipline. It's endangerment. Emma's voice, pleading. Please, we'll do better. We'll be more careful. James, this isn't about being careful, Mrs. Patterson. This is about your children's safety. And right now, we don't believe they're safe in your home. At 11:15 a.m., Monica came back inside. We're recommending emergency custody, she said. The children will stay with you pending a court hearing. When's the hearing? Within 72 hours. The judge will determine next steps. What are the options? Reunification with the parents. Extended custody with you. Foster care if no relative is available. I'm available. Good. We'll need you to complete some paperwork. Background check, home inspection, standard procedure. Whatever it takes. Emma was sobbing in the driveway. Brad was yelling at James. I closed the door and walked back to the kitchen. Jake and Tommy were still at the table, quiet, watching. Are we staying here? Jake asked. For now, I said. Are we in trouble? No, buddy. You're not in trouble. None of this is your fault. Tommy climbed into my lap. I don't want to go home. Something inside me cracked. You don't have to. I called my lawyer at noon. Richard Santos, family law attorney, 16 years of experience. Mark, what's going on? I need emergency custody paperwork. Today. For who? My nephews, Jake and Tommy Patterson, ages 8 and 6. Why? I told him everything. The locked doors, the cold, the CPS report. Jesus, he said. Yeah, I can file emergency custody. But you know this is going to get ugly, right? I don't care. Your sister's going to fight you. Let her. This could destroy your relationship. It's already destroyed. She chose her husband over her kids. I'm choosing the kids. Okay, I'll have the paperwork ready by 3. The court hearing was scheduled for Friday, November 20th, 3 days away. Emma called me 47 times between Monday and Thursday. I answered once. Mark, please. They're my children. I love them. Then why did you lock them out? It was a mistake. 3 mistakes. 3 months. Do you know what Tommy told the caseworker? He said he's scared to sleep at night because he doesn't know if you'll let him back inside. Does that sound like a mistake to you? Silence. Fix yourself, Emma. Get therapy. Leave Brad. Do something. But I'm not letting those kids go back until I know they're safe. You're ruining my life. No, you ruined theirs. I'm just trying to fix it. She hung up. The hearing was brutal. Emma and Brad showed up with their own lawyer, a guy named Mitchell Barnes, slick suit, condescending smile. Your Honor, Barnes said, this is a gross overreaction by a vindictive uncle with no children of his own. My client's made some minor mistakes, falling asleep, not hearing the children knock, but there's no evidence of willful neglect. Judge Carol Martinez, a woman in her 60s with sharp eyes, flipped through the case file. Mr. Barnes, are you aware this happened 3 times? Your Honor, accidents happen 3 times? She looked at Emma and Brad. You accidentally locked your children outside in freezing weather 3 separate times? Brad shifted in his seat. We're working on better communication. Communication? Judge Martinez looked at Monica's report. Your son told the caseworker he's afraid to go home. Your 6-year-old said he cries at night because he thinks you'll lock him out again. Does that sound like a communication problem to you? Emma started crying. The judge wasn't impressed. Mrs. Patterson, I've read Mr. Sullivan's statement. I've read the DCFS report. I've seen the photos. Your children walked 6 blocks in the dark in November in their pajamas to escape a situation where they felt unsafe. Explain to me why I shouldn't terminate your custody right now. I love my kids. Emma's voice broke. Love isn't enough. Love doesn't keep children warm. Love doesn't protect them when they're locked outside at 4 a.m. She looked at me. Mr. Sullivan, are you prepared to take custody of these children? Yes, Your Honor. Full-time? Long-term? As long as they need me. Do you have the resources? I'm a software engineer. I work from home. I have a 3-bedroom house. I'm financially stable, and I love those kids. She nodded. And the children? Do they want to stay with you? Yes, Your Honor. Jake told me he feels safe here. Tommy said he doesn't want to leave. Judge Martinez closed the file. Emergency custody is granted to Mark Sullivan. Mr. and Mrs. Patterson, you'll have supervised visitation only, 2 hours per week. You'll both complete court-mandated parenting classes and undergo psychological evaluation. We'll reconvene in 6 months to reassess. Emma gasped. 6 months? Be grateful I'm not terminating your rights entirely. This is your chance to prove you can be trusted. Don't waste it. The gavel came down. Brad's face was red, furious. He grabbed Emma's arm and pulled her toward the exit, but before they left, Emma turned back. You're destroying our family, she hissed. No, I said. You did that. I'm just making sure the kids survive it. The next 6 months were hard. Supervised visitation every Saturday, 2 hours. A social worker present. Emma cried through most of them. Brad barely talked. Jake and Tommy were polite, careful. They hugged their mom, said they loved her, but they didn't ask to go home. At night, Tommy had nightmares. Jake had anxiety attacks. I got them into therapy. Dr. Linda Nguyen, child psychologist with 22 years of experience. She worked with them twice a week, helped them process the trauma, taught them coping mechanisms. Slowly, they started to heal. Jake joined soccer, made friends, started smiling again. Tommy stopped crying at bedtime. They called me Uncle Mark at first, then just Mark. Then, one night in March, Tommy said, "Good night, Dad." I froze. He'd already turned over. Didn't even realize what he'd said, but I did, and something in my chest broke open. The 6-month review hearing was in May. Same courtroom, same judge, but this time, Emma and Brad had completed their classes, passed their evaluations. Your Honor, Barnes said, my clients have done everything required. They've proven they're capable parents. It's time to reunite this family. Judge Martinez looked at the reports. Dr. Mitchell completed the psych eval, she said. He notes significant improvement in Mrs. Patterson's emotional regulation. Mr. Patterson completed anger management and parenting courses with satisfactory marks. Barnes smiled. Exactly, they've changed. But the question isn't whether they've changed, the judge said. It's whether the children feel safe. She looked at Jake and Tommy. They were sitting next to me, quiet, small. Jake, Tommy, I'd like to ask you both something, and I want you to be honest. No one will be upset with you, no matter what you say. Jake nodded. Where do you want to live? Jake looked at Emma, then at Brad, then at me. With Uncle Mark, he said quietly. Emma made a small, broken sound. Tommy? The judge asked. Tommy grabbed my hand. I want to stay with Uncle Mark. Can you tell me why? Because he doesn't lock us out, Tommy said, and he makes us pancakes, and he doesn't yell. Judge Martinez closed the file. Mr. and Mrs. Patterson, I'm granting permanent custody to Mark Sullivan. No, Emma stood up. They're my children. They were your children, the judge said, but you failed to protect them multiple times. Mr. Sullivan has provided a safe, stable home. The children have expressed a clear preference. I will not force them back into a situation where they feel unsafe. Please, you'll continue supervised visitation, but custody belongs to Mr. Sullivan, permanently. permanently. The gavel came down. Final. Emma collapsed into her chair, sobbing. Brad just stared at the table. I looked at Jake and Tommy. You okay? I whispered. They both nodded. Can we go home? Jake asked. Home. Not your house. Home. Yeah, I said. Let's go home. We left through the side exit. Emma tried to approach us in the hallway. Please, Mark. They're my kids. They're my kids now, I said. You had your chance. You chose Brad over them. You chose your pride over their safety, and now you're living with the consequences. I was trying. You tried to lock them out. That's what you did. 3 times. Brad grabbed her arm. Come on, let's go. She looked back one more time, at Jake and Tommy, at the children she'd lost. I didn't feel guilty. I felt relieved. That night, I made spaghetti and meatballs, their favorite. So, I said, sitting down at the table, we're official now. You're stuck with me. Jake grinned. That's okay. Yeah, you're a pretty good dad. Dad, not uncle. Dad. Tommy climbed into my lap. Can we stay forever? Forever, I said. Even when we're old? Even when you're old and gray and you have kids of your own? This is your home, always. Jake looked at me, really looked. Thank you, he said quietly, for not making us go back. You don't have to thank me for keeping you safe, I said. That's what parents do. Parents, not uncles. Parents. That's what I was now. 2 years later, Emma called. Mark, can we talk? About what? I left Brad. I've been in therapy. I'm better. I was wondering if maybe you can see them. Supervised visitation. Same as before. I was hoping for more. No, Mark, Emma, I love you. You're my sister. But those kids, they're happy. They're safe. They call me dad, and I'm not going to disrupt that because you finally got your life together. Silence. Can I at least see them? Every other Saturday, 2 hours, with a supervisor present. Okay, she whispered. Thank you. I hung up. Jake walked into the kitchen. Was that Mom? Yeah. Is she okay? She's trying to be. Do you think she'll ever really change? I thought about it. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. You're here. You're safe. That's all that matters. He hugged me. I'm glad you answered the door that night. Me too, buddy. Me too.